Yes, very appropriate question about how the requirements are different. So for building a quantum computer, a quantum processor, let's compare a QPU to a network of QPUs. So the requirements for a QPU is you want it to be as isolated as possible from the environment, right? So you want the qubits to be isolated when you don't want to do a gate action, and then when you want to do a gate action or readout, you want them to couple. So that tension of isolation with communication and entanglement is key. So for the requirements for a QPU is you want to have the highest coherence time. You want to isolate it. You want to put it in a cryostat. You put a metal shield around it. You put another metal shield in the middle with some absorber, and you're protecting that from the communication and the radio waves from the outside, the heating. You got to keep these processors very cold, and sometimes they bury them. So there's been research into these high energy particles that are coming from outside of the Earth's atmosphere, and that they penetrate through, and they can actually destroy the coherence of the entire chip. And these happen on the order of every second to 30 seconds. And so you want to isolate it, protect it. Now, to couple it in a network, you want to be able to have that efficient networking, right? So there has to be a connection to the outside world to do the entanglement-based networking so that you can set up that network of your QPUs. And so you can use the control channels that you have, right, for controlling the qubits, but those tend to be pretty lossy, and trying to connect into those for a communication protocol will be quite difficult. And so what you need to have for the requirements is you need to have another connection to the other chip that is high fidelity, low loss, and that you can turn on and off. And so one way that the superconducting qubit manufacturers have solved the coupling versus isolation problem is by having tunable couplers. And IBM just announced this last year. Google kind of pioneered this with Sycamore, but you have there are other qubits. They're like a qubit between the qubits, and they're couplers. So you control them electronically, and you turn on and off that connection. So imagine a gate that's going up and down to connect, let's say, channels of water. And so you open it up to do a gate, and then you close it when you want to sustain the state and protect it. And we need a similar coupler to connect the QPU chips to each other so that you can couple it, and have high extinction when you're not using this. So the requirements are you want high coherence time, but you really need to have that communication ability to the outside world. And so you're going to need to have those couplers. It'll be key.
So it sounds like these are very similar requirements for operation, very different strategies for tackling those challenges.
That's right. Yeah, getting it in and out. So these manufacturers have already been thinking of how do we get these optical devices in? And I've seen proposals of hardening optical fiber down in the cryostat. So definitely been thinking and planning. Now is the time to really start to prototype.